My client's cousin tried to blackmail me at his family reunion, hinting he'd seen me somewhere before, while smirking like he'd already won. When I told him I wouldn't lie to protect him, he grabbed my arm and said, "You ruined my entire life." I just stared at him. That was 9 months ago. Last week, he was let out of his office in handcuffs while his co-workers watched from the windows. A client begged me to be his fake girlfriend for an entire day. No intimacy, just pretend to be in love with him at his family reunion. Apparently, he'd been lying to his family for 6 months about dating someone named Jess, and his cousin Derek had been calling him out, demanding to meet this mysterious girlfriend. I figured I'd eat some free food, tell some made-up stories, and walk away with rent money. What could possibly go wrong? Well, turns out his cousin Derek was one of my regular clients. Anyway, he picked me up 5 hours before the reunion and ran me through who Jess was, the fake girlfriend he'd been playing up for 6 months. Jess and him met at a bookstore reaching for the same copy of Murakami's Norwegian Wood, allergic to shellfish but loved sushi, played volleyball in college, and always ordered her coffee with oat milk and 2 sugars. The way he'd built this entire person from scratch was actually impressive, but the panic in his eyes told me Derek had pushed him past his breaking point. When we arrived at his aunt's house early, I slipped into character immediately. His mom practically sprinted across the lawn to hug me, tears in her eyes, saying she'd been waiting months to meet the girl who made Dylan so happy. Within minutes, his uncle dragged us into the family cornhole tournament, insisting we play as a couple. Dylan was terrible, but every time he missed, I'd pat his back and call him baby, like we'd practiced, and his family ate it up. When I scored the winning point, Dylan lifted me up and spun me around while everyone cheered. His teenage cousin yelled, "Couple goals!" And honestly, we did look good together. About an hour in, Dylan pulled me aside by the drinks table and whispered, "You're incredible. You know every single thing. You're making me look like the luckiest guy here." The genuine gratitude in his voice caught me off guard. His grandmother cornered us to show me Dylan's baby photos, going on about how she'd never seen him smile this much, how I must be the one. Then she added, "Derek's almost here," she mentioned casually. Dylan's hand tightened in mine, but the sweetest moment came later when his 5-year-old niece tugged on my dress and asked if Dylan was my prince. Before I could answer, Dylan scooped her up and said, "Actually, Jess is my princess," and she saved me. The little girl made us do a fairy tale kiss, and when Dylan leaned in, he whispered, "You're amazing," against my lips. His whole family erupted in applause. His mom was sobbing, his dad was filming, and when we pulled apart, Dylan kept looking at me with this soft wonder. For a moment, I forgot about the money, forgot about the act, forgot I had a real name that wasn't Jess. Then Derek walked in. I saw him before he saw me, and my blood went cold. Derek was one of my Tuesday regulars, single, cocky, liked to book me for overnight sessions where I'd pretend to be whatever fantasy he had that week. He froze in the doorway, staring at me wrapped in Dylan's arms. The recognition hit his face like a slap. Then came that smile. Not angry, but absolutely delighted, like Christmas came early. "Well, well," Derek said, strutting over. "You must be the famous Jess." He hugged me way too long, whispering, "This is fucking perfect." When he pulled back, he was practically glowing with excitement. Dylan didn't notice, just kept beaming, clapping Derek on the back, saying how he'd finally get to meet the woman he'd been talking about. Derek spent the rest of the afternoon orchestrating chaos. "Let's play couples trivia. Jess, what's Dylan's coffee order?" I panicked and said black while Dylan said oat milk latte at the same time. Derek howled with laughter. "6 months and she doesn't know your coffee? Dylan, what's Jess's middle name?" Dylan went white. "Show everyone your favorite photo together." Neither of us had any. Derek made us do a couples challenge where we had to answer questions back to back. "Where did you first say I